So grab your headphones, let the journey start. With Suzy's Vegas tales, she's stealing the heart. In the city of dreams, let's laugh and play. Suzy's Las Vegas podcast, come join the sway.
Well, hello there. Just wanted to tell you this is going to be one hell of a show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and one of your favorites is back. This is a man of many talents. Are you ready for this today? I've got Mike Kinney on the show. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Girlfriend, how you doing?
I'm doing swell. I'm sorry about your wife, too.
Thank you very much. Majority of my friends know, and unfortunately I lost my hair right about a year ago. Just stage 4 cancer is not our friend.
Wow.
But your group reached out and says, hey, Mike, you'd really like to have me on? I said, well, I'm honored to be here. And what better way to jump back in the pond than on your amazing podcast?
I'm loving it. We've got so much to talk about. I don't know where to start. You are a man of many talents. Wow, auctioneer. I mean, come on, give me the list, babe.
So I'm a professional MC, professional motorsports announcer. I've done NHRA, I've done NASCAR, I've done monster truck, done mud bogs, and also a benefit charity auctioneer. I have worked on or served on the majority of properties on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm now north of do the 9, carry the 2, by I think $6 million. We've helped charities raise throughout the United States.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And when I work with the production teams and the people in selecting the talent, I says, I'm going to give you 3 pretty good guarantees. Everybody's going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'll never use offensive language that makes someone upset. And odds are we're going to help you raise a bunch of money. And if I don't do that, don't pay me. And I always get paid.
That's wonderful. So what are you up to? Tell me about your latest venture.
My latest adventure, like I said, we're getting our toe back in the water.
Okay.
I've already done a couple of benefit auctions here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Getting back into hot rodding, so I never really left it as far as more on the media side.
Yeah.
Just had a great meeting in Williams, Arizona. I'm going to be their MC for a giant car show. And for all you hot rodders out there, or the really cool people, it is on Route 66, what we call Mother Road.
Oh my God.
Remember the animated movie Cars, right?
Yes.
Well, that was all Route 66. So this town, Route 66, goes through the center of town.
Wow.
And it's one way, and you go over a block, and it's one way the other direction. So they divide that one way in half. They diagonal park about 500 cars, and it's being
500 cars?
500 cars. Williams, Arizona, I believe the first week of June.
Wow.
All the proceeds benefit the local American Legion.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so they said, would you come be our MC? And I says, I would love to. I get to help the charity and get to talk about hot rods.
Yeah, well, you love that.
I got to love that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about hot rods? See, now I opened a can of worms, didn't I?
Very good. I've had different answers over the years, and I was doing an event, I think it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I was talking to a builder there, and he said what he likes about it most is hot rodding, if you want to call it a hobby or a business, is it's one of the few things a 17-year-old and a 70-year-old that can talk about in a language they both understand and respect.
That's true. That is true.
So it truly is universal. I kind of like about any hot rod. Now, I'm an old Mopar guy.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the Dodge Plymouth stuff.
Yep.
And I'm a big time what's called a Plymouth Superbird guy.
Plymouth Superbird.
That's the one that's got the wing on the back, the little pointy nose on the front.
Yeah.
Not only do I like them, I have one.
Oh, you have them?
I have one. 426 Hemi 4-speed.
Oh, my God.
Just the way it should be.
Wow.
I've been stopped by local law enforcement 3 times. That's me again. Yeah. They just want to take a picture of the car and talk to me about it. I say, anytime you want. I'll give you the keys, just don't give me the ticket.
There you go. That's the way to do it. How to make a deal.
See, to make a deal, but it's just hot rodding and customizing in general is universal. We talked earlier about the SEMA show here in early November.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's your main show you go to every year, isn't it?
I think it's going to be my 22nd year.
Well, you were, 6 years old?
That's just it. Send all cards in a letter to Suzy. She's cool. I'm just saying. And as you see the latest and the greatest, it's trade only.
Sure.
But now they do, because I'll have 2,000 cars on display inside the convention center. So they roll those out on Friday evening so you can get tickets and you can watch all the cars roll out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
How
like
fun.
being at SEMA, but you see the best of them as all the cars come out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've been to SEMA, so I learned something new from you.
Yeah. And as you know, you'll see everything from a new Lamborghini to a monster truck and everything in between.
Oh, yeah.
What fascinates me at the SEMA the last few years is their emphasis on women in the industry.
Yeah.
There is a series of repair shops, et cetera, that are owned and run by women. They do a great job. There's one in New Jersey that she has 6 or 7 gals working for her. And so if you go in there to have your car serviced, there's a little lounge, and part of that lounge, there's a salon right there, and you can get your nails done.
Oh, my God.
And so that makes your eyes light up.
Yes.
And then
I love it, yes.
Yeah, and then once a month on a Sunday afternoon, from noon to 3, they have this little kind of meet and greet about as far as meeting your car. They explain how brake systems work, how your fuel injection, and you get free coffee and donuts.
Oh, my God.
And so they help just. Some women aren't as versatile like to be on just the automotive function.
Well, sure they do. Yeah. How cool is that?
So tell me about yourself and your show. You've got a lot of footprint, right?
Yes, baby, I do, don't I?
I kind of thought you did.
Yeah. Well, when I saw about you, see, I love to talk to the movers and the shakers. I like to spill the tea, on what's going on, and your latest little secrets are, on my show and what you're coming up with and all that. And you're one hell of an interesting individual. And I thought, we got to do this. This is amazing. This is amazing. But you have a background in auctioneering too. I
was also a benefit charity auctioneer.
Yeah.
As far as brief history, I got into auctioneering through drag racing. I got into.
Okay, all right. Now I want to know.
I figured that
See, here we are, folks. Now we're getting spilling the tea here.
And I got into drag racing because in high school I had a very pronounced stutter. Actually, growing up.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. So as I was growing up, I was adopted at the age of 3. And
Iowa, right?
Yes. Very good. Ottumwa. Yeah. Same old town as Radar Riley in the Book of MASH.
Oh, my God.
But that's kind of where the town claim stops. Sorry, folks. Just saying. Grew up there, I kind of know.
Yeah.
And so the adopted at the age of 3, family life wasn't the best, but I'll make best out of what I have in front of me.
Sure.
Bigger than most guys in my class. I got this funny voice, Native American before Native American was cool, and a very pronounced stutter. So school wasn't the most
They weren't the most friendly, no.
And we had a local small drag strip, nothing like you see on TV, folks. It was a little 8th Mile, had the little rickety wooden stands.
Yeah.
We didn't care. We're having a good time.
Sure.
And I would wrench on the cars because my buddies didn't care if I had a little bit of a stutter. I knew how to help them on their cars.
Yeah.
And the announcer got sick.
Oh.
And so the guy that runs it, he runs everything, the popcorn stand, and he goes, "Hey, Mike, can you finish the day for us?" Right? I went, "Yeah." Right. So I go running up there. You got this ladder, and there's this little small shack. And there's a window on each side. There's a microphone and one table, and you got your paperwork. Yeah. And I sat down, and I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. I've never done this before.
You froze.
Well, that guy made it sound really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how tricky it was. So if I got to say something.
Yeah.
And sure enough, here came the stutter.
Oh, no.
I sound like a machine gun with an endless clip of ammo. So the owner comes up, bails me out. I felt sorry for me.
Oh, my God.
And then he and the announcer adopted me. And so I started announcing a little bit more and a little bit more. I got so focused on making sure I was pronouncing names properly and getting excitement for the cars. And so I got really zeroed in on entertaining and making sure I had a good time.
Sure.
And I didn't worry about stuttering anymore.
No, it kind of took care of itself, didn't it?
Took care of itself.
Wow. What year was that?
Pardon?
What year was that?
Many
moons ago.
For some of the younger viewers, okay, this is before like Facebook and the internet. I go, this is before cell phones. Okay.
Oh my God.
Half your audience is like, what? There was such a there was such
there really was before Facebook.
So how's that possible?
YouTube, Facebook, huh? None.
And you're talking about young talent because I have an opportunity to work with a lot of them about just you have one chance to make a first impression.
Oh, that's right.
So I remember I was at a drag race somewhere in Iowa, and they brought in a professional announcer. He had his own briefcase and his own microphone. So this guy was the big deal. Right?
Okay.
So I'm taking notes and trying to learn from him. It's Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's next to the last race.
Okay.
Storms are starting to come in.
Oh,
It's getting
boy.
colder. The wind's coming up. There's 5 people left in the grandstands, including the janitor. Right?
Oh, no.
You know, because people are getting
Yeah,
their leaving.
sure, they're getting scared.
If you were listening, his first name was Eddie. If you were listening to Eddie, you thought it was the last turn of the last lap of the Indy 500. He's cheering and crazy and just going crazy on the
Yeah.
microphone. So they take a quick break, and I says, Eddie, I says, why are you doing all that? And he goes, doing all what? I said, you're going crazy on the microphone, all this going, and there's nobody in the grandstands. And he had his little stubby fingers, and he pokes me square in the chest. And he goes, Mike. And I said, yes, sir. He says, if you're going to be a bear, you be a grizzly every day. Now, that made 0 sense to me at the time because I'm like 20 years old, but what he was attempting to tell me, you
Be
always
the
have
best.
to, you always have to be your best. You bring
Yeah.
your A game, and you never step back from it.
Wow.
And that led,
What a way to learn, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that led in announcing across the United States. I announced the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I've been in St. Louis, around the country, and that fit into being an MC on stage.
Yeah.
Because some of the people would be at events. Hey, I got an event coming up.
Sure.
And I went through 2 different auctioneers' schools. I'm a certified benefit charity auctioneer and a certified professional ringman.
Tell me about
For the
the
ringman.
school.
So a viewer. Well, have you ever seen Barrett Jackson?
Yes.
The big thing on
Yeah, I
TV.
have.
So you got, and so back in the day, you had Spanky, my good buddy Tommy Astor. He's there 5'10", give me front, and so
Yeah.
you'll see the guys out front. They're going,
Right.
heck, that's the ringman.
Okay.
And so what they're doing, they're working with you and say, you know, Suzy, you want this car.
Yeah.
If you bid another 10,000, I think you got it. And they go, hup. So that's the ringman. So they help find those right bidders and keep
yeah.
the energy going. Why do both?
You
Which
do
is
both?
kind of unique.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
What a background, huh?
I've been very fortunate. I have stood on the shoulders of giants in the industry. Christian Kohlberg, I've announced with Dave McClellan. We lost him a few years ago, unfortunately. He was like the voice of NHRA and the voice of SEMA.
Wow.
And I would be in the booth, and he goes, Mike, I love your voice.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have a wonderful voice, Mike. You really do.
Yeah, for him to say that, to, you know,
That's a big
I'm
deal,
going,
man.
Dang. So,
Yeah.
And just for the viewers, there's a lot of auctioneers schools out there, you know, and so you step around, you find what's comfortable for you. Over 90% of adults would rather perish by fire than speak in public. So now you got that going on the back of your little lizard brain.
Of course.
Plus, you want to be talking fast, you want to entertain, you want to keep track of the bidding and make sure everybody has a good time,
That's right.
thanking all the sponsors, and you do it all at the same time.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily for everybody.
No.
Mary
But
and I
you're
would
so
go to
good.
Well, thank you. Mary and I would go to events here in Vegas or in Beverly Hills, and so we'd be at a front table with some friends. And,
Sure.
And the auctioneer, on a scale of 10, was about a -3. So he was not bad. He was really bad. And I'm like this, and Mary would grab my arm. She goes, Michael, you cannot take over from the auctioneer. But I said, but he's not raising any money. He's not having any fun. She goes, we don't care. Sit back down. Because I was ready to go.
So she kept you in line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, just
How many years?
St. Patty's Day, which was, very recently. We've been in 36th anniversary of first day.
Wow.
Married my bestest buddy.
Yeah.
And she.
Well, you
she-
must miss her terrible.
Yeah, just it's getting a little better, you know.
Yeah.
And I got good friends to help me.
So 36 years you guys were together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just I
Did
met
you meet her in Iowa?
I met her in Texas.
Oh, in Texas.
And I
Okay.
told her I have a very nomadic career by definition. So we went from Texas to Washington State, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Washington, D.C., and then Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow. That's one hell of a road trip.
Because when I met her, I said, well, you know, I have a little bit of a nomadic career because I do safety work and all this auctioneering and stuff. She says, just don't take me East Coast. I said, okay. Well, within 3 moves, we're in D.C. She says, you lied to me. I said, well, not on purpose. You know, it is strange stuff happens with me all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it has to be. Wow. So I see Mike Kinney, Vegas.
Yeah, MikeKinney.Vegas.
Okay, so.
That's the website. It's hammered down to MikeKinney.Vegas.
Okay.
702-371-7469, which spells show.
Yes,
So.
very good. Okay, and safety culture strategy. So tell me about that.
so
That's another deal.
Okay, hot rodder fans, we're going to shift gears just a little bit.
Isn't this fun? We're switching. I love it.
Yeah, safety culture strategies. I'm a certified safety professional. I'm a certified ISO 45001 lead auditor on health and safety programs, certified accident investigator. So that's always been kind of who,
Oh, that's a big deal.
yeah. And that's kind of who I am career-wise.
Okay.
So a lot of my charity work and announcing this, that's kind of my side hustle that's kind of become almost full-time as well. And for the viewers, most recent example is probably Boeing.
See, now you knew what I was going to ask next.
Is that...
Can we talk or can we talk?
Knuckles, is that the culture of that organization, they have some challenges with it.
Oh, yeah.
And so safety culture, when I meet with the company, especially the leadership team, I said, you can really take safety out of it. It's your culture. But safety is so important.
It is.
Because it affects your insurance rates, it affects morale if somebody gets hurt.
If
you have a serious injury or, God forbid, you have a fatality, the impact on your company is huge.
Yes.
And you can pay more for your insurance than you did a month ago. And the majority of injuries are due to conditions that exist inside the facility that people knew about.
Okay.
I really get animated if people say somebody's accident prone. And I say, no. We can have.
What's your thoughts on Boeing? Can we talk about
Sure,
it?
of course we can.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I think as they've grown, they suffer from the same challenges as really large companies, is that the way they grow.
Right.
If you grow too quick, that you start losing connectivity with the people I call on the shop floor.
Yeah.
The people that turn wrenches for the women.
Those are your front line.
That's your front line. That's the most important people you have.
Absolutely.
As you grow, and they've added new lines, they've been very successful. It can become a challenge, and when you change leadership of an organization, that induces a new series. And when I work with companies, I said to change the culture is kind of like when you got a big shipping, the oil container that's going across the ocean, and it's 1,000 feet long.
Yeah.
Well, you got to put constant pressure on the rudder if you want to turn to port or go left. If you inadvertently let go of the rudder, what's that boat going to do? It's going to self-center and find the easiest path.
Sure it is.
That's what happens with safety culture. And you've heard the phrase like, here's the next 30-day solution, right? Or just that new magic pill, because the more rich people go, yeah, I know. If wait about 30 days, and then the boss is going to see something new, because he never got him engaged to begin with.
Oh my God.
And so and I have unfortunately been involved after a fatality, and the leadership team is just devastated just for the loss and the impact on the family.
Absolutely.
And they said, how did we get here? And then we started looking, well, there were some signals that with best intentions, they inadvertently got overlooked. Now, don't get me wrong, is the majority of companies really want to be doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But so when I talk about accident prone, all of us are error prone. I went to leave today and I almost forgot my wallet, so that was an error. Right?
Sure.
So when I talk with these leadership teams, I said, your company, your processes have to recognize the potential for an error to occur.
Correct.
And then it really becomes important how senior management responds when that error is realized. And they go,
that's the big
that's
thing.
Deep. But just think, so
it's
if you get hurt and they pull you into a meeting and say, Suzy, how did you allow yourself to get hurt? How are you going to feel? Not too spiffy.
No.
Do you want to go to another meeting?
No.
Were you happy with the results?
No.
What are you going to go back and tell all your friends?
Yeah.
I don't like the way they treated me.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes that happens with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
And so people ask, examples of safety culture that I think are cool. I've had the pleasure, I have been at almost every Department of Energy National Laboratory across the United States. 10 years of commercial nuclear power, so I've dabbled a lot.
You've been there, yeah.
I have toured everywhere from southern Florida to Pearl Harbor Shipyard in Hawaii, rough gig, helping them with stuff. One of the national labs, they have some inserts in the floor, and it's got big threads to hold big bolts for lab equipment.
Yes.
So I'm walking around, there's a janitor, and he's got the little upside-down vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah.
And he's got his hose. And I'm watching, and he pulls this tube out of his pocket, puts it on the little vacuum hose, and puts it down in this threaded insert to suck the dirt out.
Oh, no.
Now you've got me fascinated. So I walk over,
Yeah.
hey, I'm doing a Mike
Yeah.
Kinney. He says, what are you doing? Now, he says, well, I figured out that we want to make sure these bolts get good and tight so those young fellas can do their research. So I make sure all the dirt's gone. He's like 75 years old.
Wow.
Just part of the janitorial team. I think one of the optimum when JFK was president.
Yeah.
And
they just released. This is going to be interesting today.
And we were going to meet the Russians to the moon. Right? So he's down in southern Florida, and they're getting ready for the flight. So he's there, and he's talking to the senior team and the engineers, and they're walking across this giant hangar. And there's another janitor, and he's mopping the floor. The president goes, I want to go talk to that guy. So he goes strolling over there, and he goes, excuse me. And the janitor leans on his mop. He goes, yes, Mr. President. He goes, what's your job here? That janitor with the president square in the eye says, I'm helping send a man to the moon. That's culture.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
think what it took
To
for
get
that message to flow all the way down to him on how critical his
Wow.
role is.
Yeah.
So it's more than mopping the floor.
Oh,
it's
of
keeping
course
it
it
clean
is.
and so everything ties together to send somebody to the moon.
That's true.
Yes, I have so much fun with safety culture. I love putting on all my dirty boots and hanging out.
Yeah.
There was one time I was in the field for 6 weeks, and I'd go home.
Where was that?
Certain ones I can't talk specifics, but
All right.
and so I'm working with a field
Well, we
crew.
redact part of it
Yes,
then, okay? That word.
But I was working with a field crew for weeks on end. They had a little place, hotels you could stay close by.
Yeah.
And by about towards the end of week number 2, they teased me on my lack of a good haircut. It's when crap starts picking up, you know you're starting to get there.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of working on safety culture with organizations from 50 people up to 5,000.
Yeah.
And anywhere in between. I always find a way to help them. The cost avoidance, I don't like to say cost savings. I use the
Sure.
phrase cost avoidance.
Yeah.
Commonly, they'll see anywhere from 50,000 to 200,000 cost avoidance.
Wow.
Out of processes that we can help them with.
Yeah.
And
That's fabulous.
At the end of the day, they end up with better programs too.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds like your heart's in the right place and you're doing what you love.
I truly love sitting down and talking to people about culture and how it can make a difference for them.
Yeah.
And especially when senior managers, when their eyes light up and they get it, and you're going, this is a really good day.
Yeah.
I almost giving back my check. I'm not
Almost,
quite
but
that.
not quite, no.
We're going to keep the check. And everybody goes, where do you start? And I says, well, I'll walk. If somebody hires me today, so we negotiate it. You get a contract, and we talk about what my delivery is going to be. You will get an exit briefing. You will get input from me throughout usually a 6 to 8 week period, off and on. I'll do a review of a lot of your documents to begin with because I want to understand who your company is and how
Sure.
you do business. I'm going to spend time with the senior team for a day or two in the beginning. And then I want to spend a whole bunch of time on the floor.
Yeah.
So I can get to know everybody. And then they start telling me, okay, this is what we really like. Here's an area we might be able to improve on.
So normally it's a 6 to 8 week contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Some of them I help companies, it's called VPP, it's a voluntary protection program that is led by OSHA.
Okay.
And so I've led numerous companies through that certification. And when you can get that certification, it definitely helps your culture.
Oh, yes.
And the other thing it does is it reduces your potential for OSHA to visit you because they know you're doing well. You will commonly see reductions in your EMR, your experience modification rate, which in turn leads to reductions in insurance costs.
Which saves everybody
Which
money.
saves everybody some shekels, maybe.
Yeah.
Everybody gets an extra turkey at Christmas
Yeah.
time. To me, the most important thing that comes out of VPP is that you end up with a better team.
Sure.
Because now you've had to demonstrate to the team, as a senior, how you really listen to them and how they're engaged with stuff.
That's really important. Yeah.
And especially in this day and age, as you look at how can we be more cost effective, how can we be more nimble.
Without a doubt.
And also, we want everybody to go home with their fingers and toes.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
And then with larger companies, I've helped some security companies. The cost of attrition is breathtaking. Some companies, a friend of mine has a hot rod shop.
Yeah.
And he's calculated it costs him $15,000 to hire somebody. And he doesn't use an employment agency. It's just what he has to step away from his day-to-day work to help get the new person up
to
their speed
speed.
on what they're doing.
Yeah.
15 grand. The security firms, that cost can be over $100,000 because there's specialized training you have to use for some of their weapons.
Oh, yeah.
So if they come in that 6 months later, they go, I don't think I really like your culture here. Bye-bye. Guess what you get to do? You get to start all over again.
Yeah.
And so the camaraderie that individual had been building with the organization,
Correct.
that
Out the
person's
window.
gone.
Yeah.
And people like them, they're going,
Why? Yeah.
if he left or she left, should I stay? Because I really like that individual.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you start to see more attrition. You're going, how'd this happen? But again, the best of intentions.
Sure.
They can kind of get focused on the wrong thing. I work with leadership to get you in the field. That alone could almost be a separate show.
Yeah.
Because I've actually have a white paper, management people walking around parent versus just stumbling about parent.
Yeah.
And I said, the worst thing you can do to your mid-management as a president is say, I want you to spend at least an hour in the field every week.
Yeah. That's true.
Because they have no idea what to do.
No.
And so I give them some ideas and tools to help them. Otherwise, if I come see you,
Yeah.
and you have a big real estate group, and so I'm the president, so I'm flying into town, so I sit down with you, and it's kind of like, remember the cartoons with Chip and Dale?
Sure.
And I says, how you doing? Fine. I said, well, you got any questions? No. How about you? No, I'm good. Oh, okay. And then I leave, right? And you're going, I canceled 3 meetings to meet with Mr. Kinney. I'm thinking, I flew all the way across the United
Yeah.
States to meet with Suzy. And both of us walk out and said, this was a waste of time. Because,
Yeah.
And so I bring tools and techniques so
Sure.
it's beneficial for both of you.
Oh, that's important.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, and I do a lot of safety conference around the United States. I'm a certified keynote speaker by Ziegler Institute from Zig Ziglar.
Wow. Yes.
It's
I
son.
know that
Yes,
name.
son,
Yes.
son Tom spent a lot of time with an amazing guy.
Wow.
And,
I've read his books and I
oh,
mean,
yeah,
they're
phenomenal
just
stuff.
phenomenal.
Zig Ziglar rocks it. And
Yeah,
you check out
for
the
sure,
Ziegler
with that-
Institute. There's a free
Yes.
pitch for him.
Yeah.
And when I do, so I've been like keynote speaker and I'll do breakout sessions, safety conferences.
Yeah.
There's some businesses, and everybody's got to make a buck, and they will sell you a checklist or buy my latest book, and that's all you have to do to change your culture. That's all you have to do for having leaders in the field.
Oh, yeah.
And so the safety guy buys that
Yeah.
for the gal,
Yeah.
goes back. It doesn't make any difference, and they probably didn't have a lot of budget to begin with.
Right.
So they spent part of their budget on something that really isn't going to work.
No.
Now they get to sit down with the director or the president of the company,
Yeah.
explaining how come we went through all that money and why didn't stuff change.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
It's a big, and then they go, well, then they try to blame the process.
No.
A little bit more, and I tell
Yeah.
them, and I'm old school. As I sit down, we have
That's
some
right.
coffee. I like to meet them for dinner. Part
Yeah.
of the senior team away from the office.
That's smart.
Right? And I'll
Very
say-
smart.
And I said, what's your end state? And they go, ooh, what's that? And I said, I'll frame it a different way.
Yeah.
As we start this safety culture initiative,
Yeah.
how would you identify success? How would you know it if you saw it? And they go, we don't even know yet. And I said, great. So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
We're going to put some stickies in the wall and move them around and find out what fits for you. Because the best knowledge you have is like a hot rodder. So I bring in this giant toolbox of options,
Yeah.
and we figure out what hammer or screwdriver or crescent wrench fits your company.
Wow.
Because again, some people, you have to come in and do it my way. I'm going, no. You have the organization.
Yeah.
This is your baby. I have an obligation. Let's just make that baby as pretty as we can,
Yeah.
where it meets your desired goals.
Yep. Wow. See, there's so many insights to this. Honest to God, you know, I cannot believe how fast our time went. Would you come back on a show and we'll narrow some of these things down? Hey, folks, I've got a favor to ask you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. I've got Mike Kinney on today, and I'd love to have him back on the show again. So I need lots of thumbs up. Bring Mike back. Can you do that for me? I would love to have you back. I mean,
I
our
would be
time
like-
went so
Well,
fast.
it did. Yeah, it just kind of, and then we're in this great studio with the
Yes.
Rigel's team. And
Yes. Isn't this fabulous here?
You got camera crew everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like this big production you commonly see in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
So to be in studio with you is phenomenal. And I would be honored to come
Well,
back.
I would love to have you back.
You betcha.
And we haven't even scratched the surface of all the things that you do. I mean,
We're kinda
you've
getting
got some pretty cool stories. You really do.
And so safety culture strategy it's scstrat.com or safety
Okay.
culture strategies is who I
Okay.
is.
And what's your phone number if anybody wants to call you?
My cell's 702-371-7469 for the office, 780-1410.
Well, there you go.
Best way is get me
So-
on my cell.
Give him a call. He knows what the hell he's talking about. That's what we like to hear.
And coming from you, that's high praise.
Yeah.
Give me knuckles.
Awesome. Well, that's our show for today, and I want to thank Mike for being on, and I really want him to come back. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Suzy's Las Vegas Lifestyles. Bye.
Bye-bye for now.
So grab your headphones, let the journey start with Suzy's Vegas tales. She's stealing the heart in the city of dreams. Let's laugh and play Suzy's Las Vegas podcast. Come join the sway.